Welcome to another episode of Tuesday Tips with RE/MAX. This week we want to talk to you about the importance of having a pre-approval letter. What a pre-approval letter is it's the bank stating that based on the information that you've given them, you're approved to a certain dollar amount, okay? Now the important part of having a pre-approval letter is that sellers want to see that when you're submitting an offer on their listing. Because what it does is it shows them that you've taken the initiative to talk to a bank and that you are qualified to purchase their home, okay? Now, a lot of the pre-approval letters are good for 60, 90, and even 120 days, sometimes even longer. You know, if there's lenders out there, feel free to comment below and let us know how long your pre-approval is good for. But when you're out there as a buyer looking at homes, it's important to have that pre-approval letter right away because one, it lets you know how much money you can spend. You don't want to be looking at $200,000 houses if you can only afford $150,000 houses. So it lets you know where you're at, okay? And then when you go to submit your offer, it lets the seller, like I mentioned, know that you've already been pre-approved. So in a market like this where there's a lack of inventory, you are most likely going to be competing with other buyers when you submit your offer on a listing. And if you're the only one that does not have a pre-approval letter, the seller's not going to take your offer serious, and ultimately you probably won't end up getting the home. Now, a lot of buyers will say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to get pre-approved until we find a house that we like. Well, what could happen in that scenario is you go through, you find a house that you like, and now you go get pre-approved. And the pre-approval process takes a little bit, and now maybe that house that you liked is already sold because there's a gap between the time you applied for the pre-approval and the time you got it, and another buyer may have purchased that property. So it's not always the best decision to wait until that home comes up because you're not going to be very strong and competitive. So that's the tip for Tuesday's Tips with RE/MAX this week. Is get your pre-approval letter. They are good for an extended period of time. It helps you in your negotiating when you are looking to purchase a house. So if you have any questions on getting a pre-approval, check with any one of our realtors. They have preferred lenders that they use on a regular basis, and they're going to be more than happy to recommend you to a lender that's going to do a great job for you. So take care. We'll see you next week.